I'm Myke Shrews.
And I'm Tivis.
And you're listening to
The Munster Cast.
Episode 23. Michael Jordan's number. All right, welcome back, everybody, to the Munster Cast, the podcast where we watch and talk about the Munsters. I am Myke Shrews, and with me, as always, is Tivis. Tivis, how you doing today, bro?
Yeah. First, I'm always worried that you're going to get the number wrong still. But, you know, I am just getting over some kind of illness, so I will do my best not to cough into the microphone.
Awesome. You do that for our, 1 billion listeners. No, for our listeners, they deserve to not hear you coughing. All right. So before we dive into anything else Munster related, let's get rid of the dirty work, the dirty business, the dirty stuff. You can find us on all social medias via the Munster Cast. And YouTube at TheMunsterCast if you want to see our pretty ugly faces. And then you can also email us questions, stories, anything that you want, to tell us about your experience with the Munsters, all that stuff. You can email us at TheMunsterCast@outlook.com. And we've actually had several good questions come from the emails from you guys, whether we did them on the show or if you just asked us a question and we emailed you back because you didn't want us to do it on the show. So with that said, I think that takes care of all the dirty business. Is there anything I was missing?
No, sounds good to me.
Awesome. And the socials are Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and of course YouTube. So yeah, there we go.
I will be in hopefully knock on wood, some conflicting things have come up now, but Astronomicon is this weekend.
Okay.
And one of the people being there is that
Astronomicon is a day after this drops, or before it drops.
Yeah, it'll be over by the time you're hearing this, but hopefully one of the people I get to meet is the new Herman. What's his name?
I'm just gonna let you hang on this one because you should know this stuff by now.
Dude, I have trouble with names as it is. Hang on. This is not great on air stuff. I'll just have to look up Jeff Daniel Phillips.
Sorry, I was just letting you hang.
For some reason, when you type in Rob Zombie Herman Munster, doesn't come up. Why doesn't that come up? Google, you failed me.
Well, do you at least know who is playing Lily?
Well, yeah, Sherry Moon.
Okay, and who's playing Grandpa?
Daniel Roebuck.
Okay, good job. You looked at that. I see you on here. But we did get a new confirmation just a few days ago.
Oh, yeah, we did.
And that is for Herman's boss. So do you want to say that one?
Yes, I absolutely have that name in my head. How did you guess? It is right at the, I'm about to say it.
It is Jeremy Wheeler. There you go.
Yes, Jeremy Wheeler. He will be playing Mr. Gateman, who many listeners will remember we just met not that long ago. So that is extremely exciting.
Yep. Herman's father figure.
Yeah. Wonder if that's going to come up.
Right. Awesome, man. Anything else going on right now in the world of Munsters that we can talk about at the moment?
Not that I can think of. I know Rob has been sharing some fan art of his versions of the characters, and that's always cool to see. It's always nice when the community gets behind stuff. I was skeptical, I should say. Myke has been on board pretty much the entire time. I was skeptical at first, but I've really turned a corner with this movie. The more we've closer we've gotten,
the more you see and stuff. Yeah. Awesome. All right. So the only other one that I wanted to talk about real quick for the audience members out there that want to know, there is a Munsters Mansion. If you have not heard about this, the Munster Mansion, and it is in Texas. And you can go to here and do like tours. I don't believe you can I don't think it's a bed and breakfast, but they do mansion tours and murder mysteries and stuff there. And it is, I'm trying to remember the name of the city. It is Waxahachie, Texas. I have no clue how to pronounce that, but it's in Texas. If you just Google the Munster
3 hours from Austin.
Yeah. So if you just Google the Munster Mansion, or just type in munstermansion.com is actually their website. And you can check that out. If you're in the Texas area, definitely check it. I would check it out if you're a big Munsters fan and you have not already seen it or heard about it. If you want to take a fun little vacation out that way, there's not much that I had seen that's around it. So it would definitely be like I'm going here for this specific thing, and then maybe do some other stuff on the way there if you're driving or whatnot. So
I already told my wife if we ever go out that way for RTX, we're going out of the way to see this.
Yeah. Like we have family in Texas, so we might end up hitting it up on one of these times on the way there. So it is definitely a drive for sure. But it would be something really cool just to experience walking through. And it is like the original design of the mansion that we've grown to know with these first season and everything. So yeah, I just wanted to point that out to people. I'm not sure on costs. Let's see. It says private tours are $120 for up to 4 people. Each additional guest is $30. So if you have a party of 4, it's not that bad. You guys split it up 4 ways. You'd be good. Yeah. So there we go. That's all I got to say about that.
You ready to dive into the episode?
I am ready to dive into the episode, man. I apologize. I do want to apologize to our listeners. I was listening back at an episode, and I just did it now. I said a lot in one of our episodes, and
that's not uncommon.
To apologize because it annoyed the crap out of me listening to it. I was just like, what the hell am I doing? But yeah, see, I just did it again. So I'm going to try and get my words together before I start speaking. Tivis, take it away, please.
I don't make that same promise. Come on. I've been fine for the last hour. We start doing this, and my body's like, no. Fuck what you want to do. So, Herman the Master Spy, season 2, episode 2. Do we want to do overall episode count, or you want me to do that every now and then? Because it could be confusing.
What do you mean?
Because this is episode 40 of the Munsters.
Oh, no. You just do season 2, episode 2. We're good.
All right. Yeah. Listeners, if you want to hear it, let me know. But this aired September 23rd, 1965, written by Doug Tibbles, developed by Norm Liebman and Ed Haas, of course, directed by Ezra Stone. Guests, we have Val Avery as the commissioner, who some may remember as Marty from The Midnight Ride of Herman Munster. We have Leonard Yor as Valerie. I think that's how you pronounce it. No. Okay. Valeiriy. I might have misspelled that. There's a very good chance of that. John Lawrence as Gregor. who may some listeners may know as Sergeant Roberts from an episode of The Bionic Woman, which is a great show I don't hear talked about enough. Bella Brock as Nino Chica, who played Mama in Munsters on the Move.
Okay. That's a movie that we haven't seen, right? Or is that?
Yes.
No? Yeah. Okay. All right.
Edward Mallory as the young man who played Jack, the boyfriend from My Fair Munster and the pilot.
Mm-hmm.
So great to see him back, especially after we just saw him again not that long ago. Henry Hunter as the older man who played the mayor in Pikes Peak. So we have a ton of returning people this episode.
Well, this episode had a lot of characters in it. So I was expecting them to just pull out, just come back, please. We need some extras.
John Zaremba as Charlie, who this guy has had a career, played Special Agent Jerry Dressel in I Led 3 Lives.
Okay.
That he was a main role. That was that we had. He was a Police Lieutenant Boyle in the 1958 Frankenstein's Daughter. Was in an episode of the 1961 Dennis the Menace, which I just wanted to mention because Dennis, haven't heard that in a while. And Kolvatar in the 1966 Batman, which always got to mention Batman. Sorry.
Yeah.
The rest of these I'm going to go through real quick because I didn't see a whole lot of things I recognize, but we had Howard Wendell as John, Robert Miller as Roger, John Silo as the Russian teletype man, and Edward Reimers as the announcer. Who
Edwin,
you will recognize as Admiral Fitzpatrick from Star Trek.
That's why I had to correct you.
Yes. No, I appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah.
What'd I say?
Edward.
Yes, Edwin. That's
Someone
not even what I typed here. I don't know where I got that.
Team Edward over here.
No.
Awesome, man. So what do we got? Anybody different for writing or anything like that?
No, all returning people.
Awesome. All right. So anything else then before I do the synopsis?
Oh, let's get into that synopsis.
All right. This is
a long list of guests.
This is a very quick synopsis. Herman the Master Spy.
You're doing it.
Herman the Master Spy, September 23rd, 1965, as Tivis said. A Russian fishing trawler picks up a scuba diving Herman in its haul of fish and mistakes him for the missing link. And oh my goodness, I hope I said that word right. Trawler? I think that's how you say that ship. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So there we go. Let's dive on into this episode here, guys. Episode 2. And then as we have previously mentioned in several other episodes, you can find the DVDs everywhere. You can find the episodes on Daily Motion, and you can also find them on Peacock, I believe it was. So definitely check those out there, guys. And find follow along if you can or want to. Otherwise, just listen to us talk about the episode and break it down, and then go back and watch it yourself. See if we missed anything. All right, Tivis, you ready? Oh, he's got his headphones off, guys. Oh, he's off. There we go. They're back.
I got a cough drop.
Awesome, man. So we're ready to dive on into this episode 2.
All right. So we open on Eddie bringing out his surfboard with Grandpa carrying a cauldron and shovel with the title.
Coffin lid surfboard, by the way.
Was it? Oh, that's a detail I missed.
Yeah.
And we got something new here, which is going to be something we see in the next one too. But the logo appears over top of them before the opening credits even air. I'm not sure how long this is going to stick around, but I don't know if I'm a fan of it. So Grandpa is hoping, they're clearly going to the beach getting ready.
Yeah.
It's very reminiscent of the outro video that we get during the credits, or the intro. And I guess returning from in the outro.
Yeah.
Grandpa's hoping to dig up a couple of old friends. Lily brings a jar of ants just in case they don't find any there to help spoil the picnic, because why not, apparently. Herman comes out with a bag that says Captain Kidd. And Eddie asks, "Are you ready to go to Paradise Cove, Pop?" Herman's like, he's excited to see what he can find in the grimy deep.
Yeah. And then after that, we go into a telecast, I guess it was supposed to be.
It's like a radio news broadcast. Reporter.
Yeah. Talking about the Russian
trawler just off the coast of Paradise Cove,
which
is it's not. They're assuring people it is not a spy vessel. They're just fishing.
I've heard that a lot lately.
Yeah.
But yeah, so then we go into the new credits that we have in season 2.
Yeah, which my only note here is still loving this new intro.
Yeah, I like the intro still for season 2. And I still really love the fact that they put the staircase in the intro still. Like, yes. It's one of those small details that just makes me so happy as a film person. Just like, oh, sweet, it's there still. So so then what do we get after that long
Lily
intro?
Lily says, "Yeah, well, we found the perfect spot." And Herman goes, "Yeah, it's weird how everyone ran away when we arrived." And Lily's, "Oh, maybe there's a jellyfish scare going on."
Yeah.
So Herman starts putting his
now maybe
scuba gear, which I misspelled as scuba.
No, maybe is this the same set, or it might be on location even, but it does kind of resemble a lot of Gilligan's Island. Is there any Gilligan's Island stuff that you came across with this?
I did not.
Okay.
But with how
much
cheap some of these studios are, it wouldn't shock me if this was used on Gilligan at some point.
Right. Because it really does look like they're on location really well. I think the black and white definitely helps hide some things if it is a set. So that's really cool. So
So Herman's like, he's going to go into the water and look for food. He doesn't have any goggles. He just sticks the oxygen into his mouth and starts walking into the water.
He doesn't need goggles. He can just fix his eyes later. I don't know.
That one just struck me as weird, but maybe they were afraid it was going to mess up his headpiece.
Well, no, because he's had goggles on before. He puts goggles on later in this episode. There's goggles on him later.
Oh, that's true. Yeah. Why is he wearing that? You know what?
Maybe they're just on his head, and as he walks away, he puts them on.
I didn't see him carrying them either, though.
So it was just an error then, or a mistake on set.
Or knowing Herman, very likely he forgot them and had to come back for him off screen.
Right.
So Grandpa's stretching as Eddie comes up to him. He's like, "I'm going to bury you." And he's like, "All right, it's fine, but make sure to bury me deep this time so the crazy dogs don't dig me up like last time."
Yeah.
And it's at that point Marilyn turns on the radio and they hear the report of the Russian boat.
Real quick before that, what do you think of Lily's bathing suit? Because she's wearing stockings.
Yes, I felt like that was a conservative choice for TV back in that day.
But
it also goes with their dreary outlook.
But Marilyn's not wearing stockings, and she's showing more skin. So I wouldn't say that would be more of a TV.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean,
so it's probably just to go with their aesthetic.
Come on, Gilligan's Island got away with showing a lot of skin.
Yeah, that's true. So it's probably just an aesthetic thing.
Yeah. But yeah, as you said, they hear about the Russian ship on the radio, with them, which did we have? Well, I guess we did we have radios like that though? Back in the 60s?
We had radios back then.
Like little portable ones like that weren't in the car. I don't know. This is what happens when you're born in the 80s. You just like question everything.
The portable radio was invented in 1941, but may not have become popular until the 50s. So yeah, they would have had it.
Oh yeah, okay. So I was just asking questions because their radio is a house radio, by the way, that they have.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it boomed in popularity between the 60s and 70s. So that'd be perfect for around this era.
Yep. Yeah. Awesome. So then they rush off to find Grandpa. Well,
no. First, Lily starts cooking up wolf burgers.
Yeah.
And she tells Eddie, "Hey, go find your dad. And also, where did you bury Grandpa?" And Eddie's like, yeah, I forgot. And I don't see Dad anywhere.
Yeah.
She's like, oh, well, okay, here, take this fire poker
and poke around
and find your dad. And then grabs this inflatable child seahorse and says, I knew I shouldn't have let Herman go without a seahorse. So Eddie begins looking for Grandpa and starts stabbing the ground and also just next to this bucket.
Yep.
And it's pretty clear that he didn't get close to Al Lewis, but I'm sure that was a terrifying scene for him. But yeah, so it turns out he buried Eddie, Eddie buried Grandpa not that deep, actually, like he requested, and didn't even cover his head.
We covered it with a bucket, I guess.
Yeah, he's just got a bucket, and he's like, "Can't anyone get some peace around here?" So they tell him, like, Herman's missing. They're like, "Oh, don't worry about it. He's sailorized." What does that mean? But so Eddie's like, I hope a whale didn't eat him. I need help with homework tonight. And Lily is furious that he took up yet another hobby in the first place. Grandpa then tells them, you know how caught up he gets, and then shoves the bucket back on his head, lays in his hole.
So sailorizing is the practice or act of sailing, especially as a seaman, the work of a sailor. So apparently Herman knows how to sail.
But what does that have to do with deep sea diving?
Yeah, I don't know. They just use words.
Yeah. Also, Grandpa's kind of a jerk. So
yeah, that's true too.
I would be surprised if Herman took up boating as a hobby in the past and he's still making fun of him for it.
It was one of his many jobs.
Yeah, or hobbies.
Yeah.
So now we cut to the Russian fishing boat.
The Russian fishing boat
turns out to actually just be a fishing boat.
Yeah.
And they pull in a haul with Herman in the fishing net.
Yep. And they drop him out. And then this is where you see Herman with his goggles on. And then he does have a little goldfish or something inside the goggles too.
Yeah, that was a neat effect.
Yeah.
And he kind of just looks around at everyone, kind of like, where am I? And then makes he's like, scuba doo doo. Scuba dubba doo or something like that.
And then he ends up taking his goggles off, which you see the water and stuff run down his face. So that was a really good one. Especially with the makeup on and stuff, like pretty cool. Yeah. So that's when he makes his remark after that, when he grabs the stupid little, the fish or whatever, the big fish that was in the net with him. Then we go to Grandpa.
And there's a lot of jump cuts in this episode, just so everyone knows.
Yeah. Then we jump to Grandpa, where he's talking on this ancient thing that we do not have anymore. No, he's talking on a
public call box.
Yeah, the call box phone. What do they call it? Payphone.
Payphone.
Yeah.
Payphones still exist. It was a phone booth.
That's for some reason on the
what Superman used to change in.
Yeah. It's for some reason on the beach though. I actually really want to buy one and turn it into Bill and Ted's phone booth, but that's a whole nother thing. But Grandpa's on the phone with the Bureau of Missing Persons. And oh my goodness, when I heard this, it sounded like a comic book organization. Also, it's a movie from 1933.
Oh, is it a Universal property?
Probably. Everything was Universal property back then.
I was just curious. Because they do a lot of references in this show, which, good for them. I like when companies get a chance to, show off what they own.
Let's see. Oh, you keep talking. I'll find out.
Well, he gets off the phone with them and he's like, look, he doesn't qualify. And they're like, what, as a missing person? He's like, oh no, they agree he's missing. He doesn't qualify as a person. So that was a nice little back and forth. Lily just gets a look of real concern on her face, which, I mean, with all the stuff we've seen Herman put her through, can you blame her?
Yeah. It was Warner Brothers.
Oh, okay. So probably not a reference to the film then.
Well, wait. Originally slated to, yeah. So it was under contract to Warner Brothers, or the guys who made it were under contract to Warner Brothers. So Warner Brothers is the only production company name that I'm seeing here at all on it. So yeah, I guess it was a WB production. Anyways, moving on. Sorry.
So now we're back at the Russian boat where Herman is trying to communicate with them using Spanish.
Yeah.
And they're like,
he speaks Russian before. He's in previous episodes he has said that he speaks like Russian, or maybe it was German. But he
probably
said
German because that's the old country.
Yeah.
But the Russians think that he's speaking his own language and that he's the missing link. And then Herman's like, well, he starts speaking in French.
Yeah.
They think he's a very nice missing link. And he then says in English, how am I going to get you to understand me? And they're like, oh, you speak English.
Yeah. You speak the English. No, wrong accent. Anyways, we're going to
very wrong accent. But yeah,
this is where once he's on the boat, though, this is where you realize that the cast for this episode, I feel, is the biggest cast we've had of people that are actual, not just background characters, but actually talk and stuff since the show started. I feel this is the most people talking episode that we've had. So that's just an observation I made for myself. Anyways.
Here's something that it should be widely known, but for some reason isn't with a lot of people. I'm sure our listeners already know this, but you never know. Somebody learns something new every day. But English is actually a pretty common thing to be taught as a second language in every country because it is so widely used for distribution type stuff. It's basically the universal language of trade.
Yeah.
So it is not uncommon for someone to know English, and even they may actually pretend that they don't.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they teach English even in Japan and stuff like that, in China. Like it's one of the languages that they usually require most students to learn as a secondary language. Whereas in the States, we get a choice of a bunch of different languages. So, yeah.
Yeah. For us, it's optional. I mean, sometimes they high schools require it, but it's not like something we need to know. Whereas in other countries, it's like you need what am I trying to say? You need a second language. I'm trying to get it out, but I can't get the words I want.
A lot of other countries require it because of business purposes, things like that. They want their people to grow up, be better business savvy. Plus, if you know English, it's a lot easier to trick us dumb Americans. So there you go.
I can't tell you how many people I know go overseas that try to talk to someone and they're like, I don't speak English.
No
English.
No English.
Oh, okay. We should not be doing that.
And John Leguizamo and what's the other actor's name? They always got away with doing stupid accents. Accents are fun. It's not offensive unless you're offended.
Oh boy.
Back to the Munsters.
He asked, where they learned it, and they're like, from TV. Which, funny enough, I actually know a story of a guy who learned English just from AC/DC songs, which is a crazy way to learn English because that guy talks like a pirate.
Well, yeah, a lot of people do learn English too from like TV shows. Friends has been a big one that I've heard a lot of people say they learned English from. So, how you doing is probably like, they probably use that a lot. The Munsters should be the show that everyone watches to learn some English, man. They
should. They're very well spoken.
Yeah.
So they begin prodding Herman, and he laughs a bit and then gets annoyed as one slaps his fin on his feet to see if, it's actually his foot.
Yeah.
He then asks if they heard any good jokes lately. Oh, boy.
And then you get Herman telling his jokes, man.
What has 4 wheels and 4 eyes?
Oh, you're going to read all of these jokes? Don't do that.
Nope. I was just getting one. I didn't even put the pun. So one of them thinks this. Oh, no. Okay. I did put the pun. One of the Russian answers. Is it the new secret weapon? He's like, no, it's a garbage truck. I don't get it. But the ones who speak English laugh. And then once they explain it in Russian to the others, they begin laughing as well, which if they didn't understand the pun, they didn't understand the joke. Why are they laughing?
I think they just wanted to humorize, maybe. I mean, he is the missing link. You might as well.
Well, a telegram has been sent back to Soviet Russia to let them know. And
this is 1965. It is Mother Russia. Thank you. We say Mother Russia.
Russia is now reporting in the news that they are ahead in the missing link race.
Tivis is going to ignore me this whole episode, guys. So that news headline is the dumbest yet most hilarious thing. Because they have a picture with him. I don't remember.
There eventually becomes a picture, but not until later.
Okay.
And it's just, this was the beginning of the Cold War, wasn't it?
Around there, yeah.
It's just how petty we got with each other. It's like, we were the first one to go to Antarctica. It's like, no, you weren't. We have pictures there.
Yeah.
We were so, oh God, we're a strange planet. So then we cut to the Pentagon where they intercept the description of Herman as the missing link. And they're like, well, they create a composite based on the description given. They're like, what could he be the missing link to? So they send a message back. It's like, they have not found a missing link, or no. I'm sorry. That's later on when they think it's a spy.
No, this is like towards the end of the Cold War.
Is it? I thought the Cold War lasted till the 80s.
It did, but it started in the 40s.
Really? I thought it was a little bit after World War II. Okay. All right. So they now intercept a new message from Russia going back to the boat that just simply reads, "Stupid idiots. From your description, this is not missing link. You have obviously caught a new kind of American spy."
Yeah.
So now the Pentagon is freaking out that a spy has been captured and go to report it, but they can't yet because that particular part of the team is out to lunch until 3.
Yep.
And then they decide, oh, well, an American's in danger. Let's interrupt their lunch. So a little bit of bureaucracy there.
This episode, you do get a lot of different, takes from different sides. And I love that the fact that they make fun of both sides in this. So that's nice. It's not like they're just attacking like the Russian side, but they're also making fun of the American side as well. Because they're all fucking stupid. Sorry. Like in this episode, they're just all oh.
No, I would go beyond the episode, but so we're back at the Munster House now, and Grandpa's looking into his crystal ball. Finds Herman on a boat where he's leading a bunch of men in song. And Lily's like, oh, that thing's been broke since Spot sat on it trying to hatch it for 3 days. We get our first really interesting kind of transition, which is new, and I really thought these were cool. But they zoom in on the crystal ball to see Herman singing with the Russian crew.
Yeah,
and now we're on the boat itself. Like it is a pretty smooth transition. I'll give him that.
I mean, we've done it a lot now, but for the time, I feel
he's behind a table.
Yeah.
And he's like much taller than everyone else, like even more so than his stilts.
Yeah. Okay.
So it's yeah. What did you think? Did you think he's jacked up higher than normal?
I think so. I think so. Only because everyone else is like kind of sitting towards his waist level almost.
Yeah.
So he might not even just be like up on an apple box, but he just might be up on a platform there because the rising of the room, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah. It was just conspicuous that his legs were hidden so well. But the who I'm assuming is the captain comes in and tells everyone that this man is a spy. And he's like, everyone is shocked, including Herman, who's like, but they didn't tell me I was a spy. And the captain's like, well, I didn't want to ruin your wonderful song, so I waited to tell you.
Right.
So he's like, oh, all right, I guess.
Okay. Then we go back to the Americans.
Yeah, the Pentagon.
Where they're reading "The Russian Spy Captured."
And this time it's accompanied with a picture of Herman.
Yeah. And I find it interesting that they have all these newspapers coming out. So how this is like days that he's on the boat. And then we have them contact the director of espionage is what this guy's title is.
Yeah, I got that too.
I was like, what is going on?
The only reason they call him too is to confirm that he's a spy.
Yeah.
And he's like, absolutely not. Have you seen this guy around the office? Like, no, absolutely not. Then
there's a lot of these things that go on in here. Kind of remind me of the Get Smart show that was actually around in 65 or so. At the same time, so the humor, the political, war, crime, spy crap humor that they're doing, it reminds me of Get Smart from back in the day. So that's awesome that they did that. And hey, maybe Get Smart stole it from this episode. So who knows?
Who's to say? But I just love the fact that he's like, no, he's not. Have you seen him around just to, make sure? It's like, no, then I don't think so.
Yeah. And then we go back to the Munster or the family at the Munster House, Munster Mansion, I guess we will call it. And where they are seeing the photo for the first time in the paper.
Yeah, well, Lily's reading it at first with the giant photo of him and doesn't notice the image until Eddie points it out.
Yeah.
Just look down. He's like, that Russian crawler.
And this is why Eddie hasn't been cast in Rob Zombie's movie yet. He doesn't want to deal with a snotty-nosed kid telling his mom what to do and pointing out their mistakes. Then we go back to the Russian. What do they call this one? Do they have a specific name for this office that they went to? I don't believe so.
It's just the office of the glorious leader, I guess. I don't know. Yeah. But they're like, the guy's like, they need to ask the glorious leader if this month that they should be ashamed of embarrassment with this fake spy or not.
Yeah.
I'm like, you have to be asked if you're embarrassed by this. What?
Man, they jump a lot in this episode. I'm sorry. I know we said it already, but holy moly.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
They tell the boat, they're like, absolutely do not bring it back to the motherland.
Yeah.
So like, toss it overboard.
Yeah.
Whatever.
I think they said shoot it and toss it overboard or something like that. Because then when we go back to the boat, they're talking about how they have to...
He looks at the image and he's like, oh. So yeah. Well, before we get back to the boat, though, Lily is on her way out to rescue
Herman,
and Grandpa has decided to accompany her and is helping with his usual manner of just shouting at her, sitting mere inches in front of her with a megaphone.
Yeah, and they're rowing too, of all things. Like
stroke.
You think that they could have spent some of their winnings that they won last season to buy a speedboat or something, like a motorboat to get out there? And why isn't Grandpa just turning into like a whale and just dragging her ass out there or something?
Yeah, he should at least be able to be a dolphin.
Yeah, something. And then we go back to
Lily is concerned that they're brainwashing Herman, though.
Yeah. And then we have Herman. We go back to Herman in the ship, and he's got a chain tied around him. And at first, we're supposed to think,
no, they tied him up.
Yeah.
No, he's just showing off his strength by busting.
By busting it, just by moving his torso back and forth. Yeah.
Then he puts on, what is that? Do you know what the Russian hat, that furry hat? Like, I think it has a specific name, but I don't know it.
Oh, I do know it. I knew it before, but I don't remember what it's called anymore.
Well, he puts one of those on, and the captain tells he's like, hey, Herman has to go. But
Ushanka.
No, I'm sorry. The captain tells one of the crew members who's been talking to Herman, he's like, we have to get rid of him, but we don't have the heart to tell him. He's just too nice.
Yeah.
It's like, well, let's throw him a nice Ruski farewell party.
Yeah.
They're like, let's throw him a farewell party. Ruski farewell party? A kiss on both cheeks and a bullet in the head? And they're like, no. An American farewell party, like the MGM musicals.
The hat is called the Ushanka. At least that's how it's spelt in English. So Ushanka.
I'm glad you attempted that and not me.
So yeah. And that's the fur cap one that they have. So okay. Moving on.
It's at this point that Lily and Grandpa row up next to the boat, and we get another one of our really cool transitions here in a second, but Lily is concerned they're torturing him by the sound of what's going on. So they stand up to look in through the window, and the camera like goes in through the window. Yeah. And now we're back on the inside again. The transitions this episode have been really awesome, and I hope they continue to experiment with these.
Even last episode, they had some cool movements and stuff too with the camera. in season.
They're trying new
1.
things this season, and I'm here for it.
Right. They're trying new things, which is cool. And I wonder if that was prepping them to get ready for the movies that they did too. To have different techniques to use, because cinematically you want something a little different than the TV show. So that maybe they were just trying things, see if they'd work and stuff like that. See what what are those people called again?
You're the film guy.
That review shit. Oh my goodness. Critics. Yes. Thank you. Wow.
That wasn't even a film term.
Everybody's a critic nowadays too. So it kind of just is out of my mind, because anybody and their mom can be a critic. They just go on the Rotten Tomatoes and yeah. Anyways. So then we get that sweet camera movement, like you said, going into the porthole and looking into the ship. And then we are seeing Herman and all the guys just dancing around and having a good old jolly time. And Herman grabs the accordion. Is that what it is? What they're called?
I think it's an accordion.
Yeah.
Yeah. Lily's pissed by all this, by the way.
Yeah.
But yeah, he breaks the accordion and looks very upset that he's destroying the Russian stuff.
And he's like, oh, well, and then he jumps onto the table and shatters that like all WWE style, like whoosh.
And then Lily and Grandpa come in, and Herman is shocked to see them.
Yeah. And yeah, another episode where Lily is just mean, man. Like,
yeah,
the last like several episodes we've watched with her, minus the unaired pilot, because she wasn't in it, of course. She just seems to have like gotten this attitude towards Herman. It's like they need marriage counseling. I hope there's a marriage counseling episode in season 2, because they
we already had that one. Remember, they went and saw him individually.
Oh yeah. That's right. Well, then maybe they shouldn't have seen them, because after that they kind of switched up, and she's been kind of bossy and everything. But yeah, she gets pissed off and she goes about everything, and she grabs him by the ear and drags him away.
Well, as they enter, the Russians are talking to us like, "Who are these people?" They're like, "Look at them. Obviously, they're capitalistic pigs of Wall Street, according to our propaganda." Yeah. So Lily's like, what are you doing here? You being a playboy? Grandpa's like, I'm so ashamed. So yeah, she grabs him by the ear, like Myke was saying, and she's like, the Russian's like, we're having a farewell party for him. And she's like, you home wreckers. What?
There's only like one girl there too.
Yeah. It's like, if you Herman's like, look, if you're ever in my Mockingbird Heights, look me up. And the captain says, see, that's what Americans are really like. They call them party poopers and go back to dancing. Like, this whole episode is such a great example of misunderstandings between people. It's like, she's got her presumptions of Russians, they got the presumptions of Americans, and here you are, Herman, in the middle, bridging the gap because he's actually talking and communicating with them as a person.
Yeah,
he is the missing link.
The missing link between cultures, I would say.
That literally just hit me. He literally became a missing link.
Yeah,
something that we are lacking even today. Just talk to each other.
Yeah, I think that is supposed to kind of be like maybe what the writers were setting out for too, is to kind of show you, look, you know, it's ridiculous on both sides. Everybody's like, the fisherman guys are not the war guys, first of all, and in
washing Russians,
right? So yeah. But I feel that it was a point that the writers were trying to make, is really all there is to it.
Yeah. And I feel like this is a really, honestly, it's a fun episode and a powerful, and we're not done talking about it, by the way. I should probably have saved this till the end, but I feel I want to get this out now. It's a message that we desperately need today more than ever, with people just communicating.
Yeah. Well, a lot of the storylines and and PSAs, as people would call them now, or woke moments, as some would call them now, in the Munsters are really relevant to even today. I mean, throughout the decades, they've been relevant.
Timeless, even.
So yeah, so they're timeless moments, which is really cool to see. And I feel a lot of shows back then have those moments that show these elements, but they're so timeless. Like Star Trek has a lot of them. And I'm sorry, I'm always going to say that just because I know that show so well. But yeah, like there's so many shows out there that have these timeless public service announcements, as you will, and awarenesses to, you know, cultural and social things that, you know, need to be talked about once in a while. So yeah, I find it really cool, and I really like the direction, because I watched this episode 3 times, and I really liked the direction that it went, because I was trying to make sure they weren't just attacking one side or the other by watching it multiple times. So I noticed the fact that they were making fun of both sides, even though we see more of the Russian side, but I think that was done on purpose because we want to see how Herman interacts with them, even though he's been taught or told that they're bad this whole time.
Yeah.
However, the Russians still didn't think that Herman was an American, so it doesn't matter. Although he's not really American, he's Transylvanian, so
he's an immigrant.
Yeah. But yeah, anyways, the premise is there. So I really enjoyed it.
Yeah. So we're back at the Munster House where Herman's trying to explain, and Lily goes to Grandpa and says, tell the miserable person on the couch I'm not speaking to him. So Grandpa turns to Herman and goes, miserable person on the couch, your wife isn't speaking to you. You hear that, you fathead? So Herman's like, you don't just translate. You don't need to give editorial comment.
Yeah.
Then Marilyn jumps in and she's like, I'm so disappointed in you. He got kidnapped.
He didn't even get kidnapped. He just got caught by accident. Like, it wasn't a kidnapping. They didn't set out to catch him. That's true.
They accidentally took him on board, and now he's getting again. He's getting blamed for
something that he couldn't help.
Just something he's situationally a part of.
Right. And not only that, it's like he didn't do anything wrong.
He's like, and he even goes into this. He's like, I was fished out of the water, told I was a missing link, and no one cares how I feel. And Lily's then like, asks why he was being so friendly, and he's like, I just wanted to be a good person.
Yeah.
It's like, why is that so bad? And you know, and this sentence might be a comment on the whole Red Scare thing, because if you talk to any Russian back then, people freaked out. They still do that today.
Yeah.
Like, if
you did it back then, though, you were a communist, whatever, you know.
They
said back
still
then.
Some today, but people still do this crap today. We have stuff going on right now with Russia. Sorry, I know, escaping real world problems, but there are Russians living in America that are being harassed for no reason. Yeah. Why do people do this? They're not involved.
Yeah, same thing happened with after 9/11 happened. People that weren't even of the same like area, religion, anything. It just because they looked like what they look like. I'm just like, are we serious, guys? You guys don't even know what you're fighting against anymore.
I had a serious problem in this country.
It's not just our country though; other countries do it too.
I know.
Lots of people. It's just how everything is, and I think that this episode, because we're done with the episode, right?
We'll just wrap it up real quick. Yeah. Grandpa tells her to forgive him before he starts crying and washes the furniture out to the street again, and she says, "All right, I forgive you," and he's all happy, and she's like, "Now let's forget all this Russian crap and go to bed."
Yeah.
And no more singing and dancing. So Herman's like, I'll be up in a second. Everyone goes up. He starts unwrapping his scuba gear, pulls out an accordion and his hat, that I'm not going to try to pronounce, and puts it on. It's like starts singing to himself.
Yeah, and then we fade out.
Yeah.
And we get the awesome credit scene again where we get both vehicles coming back in and stuff like that. So yeah. But yeah, as I'm saying, like, this episode, I think, encapsulates a lot of issues that we have today, we had then. Is like we want to try, in general, people want to try and blame everybody from a nationality or culture because of a few bad eggs, so and without even thinking about the ramifications of, like, well, these people were taught to hate different people by their specific governments. Like, I was just watching The Interview last night, the North Korean big movie thing, and it even shows in there, like, how they're taught to hate us so much. So
well, it's like World War II. The Japanese government made their population so scared of American soldiers that when we arrived to provide relief to like we do in civilians that have problems, or that have been in war-torn, we give food and stuff to help out. They were so scared they were throwing themselves off cliffs.
And I do want to say, though, too, like, even if, like, the stuff in real world that's going on at the moment wasn't going on, this episode is still really relevant to everything in life, honestly. Whether it's politics, religion, anything like that, you can look at it and utilize it in that way. It just so happens that this one is also about Russia, too. So, it's a little bit more on the nose for some people at the moment. So that's all I'm going to say about that, because we have a whole nother episode to get into as well.
Yeah.
So what are your final thoughts on this one, man? Since I've said my
I got a little bit of trivia, but we'll do our final thoughts now. This is out of all the episodes we've seen, like, it may not reach the top of my list for fun ones. No, don't get me wrong, this was a really fun episode. This is a couple episodes that I loved back to back, but out of important messages in them, I think this one by far stands out. And there's been a lot of really great messaging in this show that these are what these old shows did best. And I'm not saying new shows don't do that. They certainly do. Yeah. That's one of the reasons I love sitcoms so much, is the messaging inside the story. But, like, some of this stuff, they've been problems for so long that you don't realize how long they've been until you watch something like this. It's like, wow, we're still struggling with this. Yeah. So, I'm not getting my words out exactly, but yeah.
I'm sure everybody listening understands a lot of different things, and everyone's going to look at it differently too, which is awesome. Another great thing about the Munsters is you can interpret it in many different ways, even if the writers don't, intend it on that way. So that's always cool. Because I know we're saying this stuff right now, but the writers could just be like, oh yeah, that's not what we were trying to say at all.
Well, unintentional messaging, while not meaning to be there, also not a bad thing. So the couple of trivia things, since we are running kind of long now, and the next one's fun, and I want to have a chance to talk about that. Soviet officers were not allowed to wear beards like the commissar was in this. Mm-hmm. And also the Chicago clock behind the announcer in the beginning, it should be an hour behind New York, but they're the same time. So
nice.
All right, so let's jump into Bronco Bustin Munster, season 2, episode 3, aired September 30th, 1965. Story by Dick Conway, teleplay by Joe Connolly and Bob Mosier, directed by Ezra Stone. Guests in this one include Donald Red Berry as Ted, who had a large 9-episode role as Captain Barnes in Policewoman. William Phipps, I feel like I'm missing an S there, but as Hank, they had a long running thing in shows of like Sarah Boone and Santa Barbara. Dick Lane as the announcer, Leonard P. Gear, as the Cowpoke, Highland Dale as Volcano, who people may know as Fury, the titular character from Fury.
So Highland Dale is the horse's actual name?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm guessing. Otherwise, they just put its breed, which I don't know, horse breed. So, and uncredited, we have Murray Pollock as the rodeo spectator, who will be back as a future character and is also an uncredited passenger in 7 episodes of The Love Boat.
Okay. Oh man. Highland Dale, the horse that plays Volcano, died in 1973 at the age of 29.
Ooh, is that old for a horse?
I don't know. But I'm surprised they have that on IMDb.
But we cannot go into another tangent. I'm sorry, folks.
Yeah.
So we open up on.
Oh, no.
Synopsis.
Yeah, synopsis. Episode 3, Bronco Bustin Munster, September 30th, 1965, as Tivis said. Eddie's misguided regard for his father's natural abilities prompts the young Munster to enter Herman in the bucking bronco contest at the local rodeo. What the hell, Eddie? Stop doing this to your father. That's not part of the synopsis, but yeah.
Yeah, I know. I thought the same thing. I have it here in my notes somewhere. We open on the logo again, which just appears on screen over top of the footage.
Yep.
Grandpa stirring a cauldron while Herman's laying on a table with a blanket covering him. Grandpa takes the blanket off, and it's kind of looking like how we used to have those old Frankenstein-esque openings again, which I used to love. So I was happy about that. But no, what is actually happening is well, okay. Herman asks if this is going to hurt, and Grandpa assures him he's done this 100 times. He's only worried this time because they ran out of anesthetic.
Yeah.
And Herman's like, if it's got to come off, it's got to come off. And Grandpa says, I'll just take a little off the top and trim the sides. And he takes a comb and scissors out of his mini cauldron. And this whole thing is just a haircut.
Yeah.
Herman has to be strapped down for a haircut. Yeah. So they lean Herman up and turn the blanket into one of those like protection things that they use on you when they cut your hair. I don't know what it is.
Yeah, the little skirts.
It's like a full body bib or whatever.
Yeah. I did like, though, however, you said that we get these shots again of Herman strapped to the table. I did like that with this one again, but it's different than what we had in the season 1. In season 1, it was just a center shot. This we get more side shot, which is cool because it's a lot more reminiscent to a old Frankenstein's film. So, yeah, just wanted to point that out.
Eddie comes in scaring everyone, and Herman's like, don't do that while Grandpa's cutting my hair, which is, yes, don't do that while people are handling scissors next to people's ears.
If you cut it off, you could just put it back on and be fine.
Maybe for Herman, but not us. So he's like, Grandpa might take too much off, ruining my Steve McQueen image. Eddie's like, oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I just wanted to let you know the whole town's having Frontier Day today. Herman's like, oh, yeah, I heard about that. And he starts listing off all the events taking place. Yeah. And he's like, hey, just so you know, you're taking part in the bucking Bronco competition. And Herman's like, I what?
He's like, hey, Pop, I signed you up for
the. And he's like, hey, I'm so proud that you're going to win this. And I've been bragging to everyone already. Grandpa's like, all right, I'm going to start the haircut now. It spreads the anti-itch powder that they normally put on your neck all over Herman's face.
Yeah, he threw it right in his face like a jerk.
Like that was out of nowhere. Why?
Yeah. And then we go to the Bronco guys, the whatever, the rodeo guys. discussing like the people that are coming in and stuff like that. And then they got a Herman Munster who his son said, oh, he's like the best, whatever, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And we're going to make him ride Volcano.
Do they just let Eddie run rampant through this town? That means he's been at the rodeo talking to people.
I mean, it was the 60s.
Yeah, but he's getting like all over the damn town. Like,
Dennis the Menace was everywhere too.
Yeah, all right.
I was everywhere when I was a kid, and that was in the 90s and 80s.
I mean, I went everywhere too, but it was barely considered a town. It was labeled a village. So
yeah.
Yeah, so they're like, we can't take any chances on someone else winning that $500 prize money. And the one guy's like, hey, we'll put him on Volcano. The other one's like, what? You mean that force of nature? It'll destroy him. So his partner's like, whatever. They could just return the entrance fees to the widow.
Yeah, we'll just return the entrance fees to the widow. Freaking another con man one. And then we go in from there right into the credits. And then right after the credits, we go to the Munster House.
Yeah, where Lily is manicuring Marilyn's nails and making fun of Herman's inability to ride a horse.
They're so mean, man.
They really are. So Marilyn's like, what if you die? And Grandpa says, yeah, that'll really screw me over. Because he's barely got enough life insurance to keep Grandpa's cigar habit going, which I recently learned that was an Al Lewis habit that he just brought into the character. He couldn't stop smoking.
Yeah. Yeah.
Fred Gwynn also smoked, but he did not bring it into the character.
Oh, that would have been so hard to do. Like,
that's
constantly smoking and shit. That would be annoying.
There's some quotes from Yvonne about how bad it was just after the two got done, like being smashed. Cigars stink like horribly. But Lily says the last time Herman was on a merry-go-round, he had to wear a seatbelt. So Herman's like, look, I promised Eddie, which no, he didn't. He got forced into this again.
Yeah. He's a really good father. We'll say that.
He tries. He really tries.
I'd just be like, no, I'm not doing that. So then we have Herman.
Eddie's counting on me. He's like, I can't, I can't be a coward. And it's like, they need good they don't have any good role models anymore.
Right.
Which is something I feel like been said every decade. So Lily's like,
that's what I was thinking. I was thinking the same thing. I was like, we say that now.
Lily's like, why not reverse psychology him? And I'm like, oh, he tried this before. Remember when they wanted to move? This failed horribly. And it does again.
There's a lot of psychology going on in these last, the very last episode of season 1, the very first episode of season 2, and now episode 3 of season 2. So,
so
it's a running thing now. So then Herman goes up to Eddie's room where we see like a little gator.
Hold on. There's a good joke I have to mention.
Okay.
Herman's like, I'll go speak on Eddie's mental level. And Grandpa goes, well, if you can't get that high, just do the best you can. It begins laughing hysterically.
And Herman actually understood the joke, which was nice. So
he was not happy.
He was like pissed off. But then we see Herman up in Eddie's room. We see like little gators and stuff like that. Eddie has Woof Woof, which I do want to apologize to everyone. Last episode I said Wolfie, and Tivis agreed with me. It's not Wolfie, it's Woof Woof.
That was Wolfie.
No, it's Woof Woof.
Oh,
yeah. I just was like saying it really fast in the episode. So yeah, Woof Woof.
You had me convinced.
And Herman's sitting there trying to convince Eddie by telling him this story of a valiant
Herman the Great.
Yeah, Herman the Great. And basically, like, he's like, well, you should sue whoever wrote that story for putting
the story backfires.
He's like, no, he shouldn't do that. Like it was about
the whole thing.
Go on.
It was Sir Herman the Great was going to slay a dragon, but then his family pleaded with him, and he's like, "Oh, I can't leave these people without someone to provide for them." And Eddie's like, "What a coward!"
Yeah.
Yeah, I even have in my notes here. I have Woofy again.
Yeah, it's woof woof.
All right. Yeah. The next day, the rodeo dudes are watching Volcano being unloaded from a truck, and he's one pissed off horse, which makes me a little concerned knowing how little animal rights were back then. And I really hope they didn't do anything horrible to get these shots. So
you never know.
Yeah, the plaid jacket. Okay, so there's two of them, the plaid jacket and the jean jacket. The plaid jacket asks the jean jacket if he's sure they want to put the person on that horse. The jean jacket guy says to have people with a sheet to throw over the body so as to not disturb the audience. And at that moment, Volcano knocks over the trailer they brought him in.
Yep.
I'm horrible with names, people. I'm sorry. They're just two rodeo bros to me.
They're just two rodeo guys. Yeah. We don't need their names constantly. That's when we go back to the Munsters house where Lily is sweeping. So sometimes she's dirtying the place up. Sometimes she's actually cleaning.
Yeah.
And then she goes to shut the door and Spot's tail gets stuck. So we get a little glance of Spot to keep him relevant within the show since we didn't have him at all in episode 2. And then
his look changed as well, because last time we saw him, he was a darker color, and now he kind of looks more like what was it, the live action like Puff, the kind of like, if this was in color, I could picture him being green.
Yeah. Okay.
Like a traditional dragon.
Oh, like Pete's
green.
Dragon?
Yes, Pete's dragon. Thank you.
Yeah. Then we have Lily and Marilyn discussing Herman's stupidity.
Yeah.
going around. And I don't remember exactly what is said here because it was like just throwaway stuff, like them just shitting on Herman again. And then we go down and we have Herman and Grandpa talking. And
yeah, he's down there trying to get something to calm his nerves. And,
yeah.
And Marilyn actually says that's a great idea, which Marilyn, no, bad. The last time he took a tonic to calm him down, he went to sleep and didn't wake up.
Down here is where eventually Grandpa suggests that he becomes the horse, that he would be the Bronco that Herman would ride. Yeah. I think Grandpa wants just Herman to ride him. I think there's a little going on there. And
gotta go right over that.
Keep it in the family type of thing.
This is actually it. Oh, why? No. Why? This is actually a brilliant plan from Grandpa.
To get with his son-in-law.
It actually doesn't seem to be like a jerk thing to do. Like maybe he's thinking about Eddie in this instance. He's like, so he's like, look, Herman goes,
he does say something about, I can do this and kind of like get later on, you can make it up to me or some shit.
It's one of these, I scratch your back, you scratch mine.
Yeah.
So Herman's like, look, I just need something to make me not petrified to be on this horse. And Herman goes, look, I'm scared, you jerk. Give me some brave pills.
Yeah.
So Grandpa pulls off King Richard's Crusade Only pills off the shelf. And Herman's like, well, do they work? And Grandpa goes, well, King Richard went, Chicken Dicky went from change to Lion the Braveheart after taking one of these. And Herman's like, oh, good, give me one. He's like, no. These are for crusades only. You don't have time for this.
Yeah.
It's like, you'll be gone for months, which not necessarily true. One of the shortest crusades was led by a bunch of children, where they then got on to a boat that sold them into slavery.
So gone 3 decades.
That is a true crusade that actually happened. It lasted like 3 days.
Okay. So then Grandpa starts to take a bunch of pills to turn into a horse. He couldn't figure out which one of those because the labels are starting to fade away.
Which they were all in the same jar.
Yeah.
This is the label had nothing to do with this.
Well, it did to Grandpa.
I think Grandpa's just got an excuse for being not a great organizer.
Just a bloodsucker.
Yeah. Yeah.
So then they go and he changes into a is it a goat?
Yeah, he decides to take pill roulette and hope he comes up horse.
Yeah. Yeah. And eventually he does become a horse.
After everyone upstairs hears a goat.
Yeah.
Then a skunk and a pig.
Yeah. And then he finally becomes a horse. But then I'm questioning, how the frick does Herman think he's getting a horse out of that dungeon?
That's what I was saying too. But also, what are the odds that he becomes the exact same horse as Volcano?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can definitely tell though the horse that Grandpa plays, or the horse that plays Grandpa, I should say, they used a lot of peanut butter on that thing because he is like going crazy with his
they went all Mr. Ed.
Yeah. Man. And then Herman goes upstairs after that. Yeah.
And Eddie's like, "Oh, wow, you look neat, just like the cowboys in the cigarette commercials." Which, yep, that was a line. Lily,
it was true though. I remember the Marvel commercials just from when I was a kid, so it was around for a while.
Yeah, Lily once again pleads with him, like, "Please, please don't do this." And he's like, "Oh, I'm a real cowboy." Sticks his thumb in his belt and gets stuck. And the only one who's willing to help him is Eddie.
Yeah. This would have been the perfect gag for them to have Herman lose a thumb. He's always talking about falling apart.
Yeah, it actually would have been. Yeah, that's not a hard trick to do either, especially back then. Yeah. So the family arrives at the rodeo in their own private box, and no one seems to care Grandpa isn't there because why would he be?
Right.
So the bull throws a dude in the stands next to them, and Lily's like, "Are you okay?" He takes one look at her, jumps back into the pen, back onto the bull, and rides it backwards into the pen where they came out of. And Lily's like, "Whoa."
Reverse the footage.
I've never seen that move before. That's impressive.
Then we have the two guys talking about, or no, Herman comes over and is trying to find or talk to the guys, the rodeo guys, sorry. And that's when they finally get their first glance at Herman.
Oh, this joke. They're stunned at Herman. They're like, "Whoa, this dude must have befell a buffalo stampede, but I didn't know there was that many buffalo left." Always with the face joke.
He doesn't even look that bad. Like if I saw somebody that looked like that in real life,
he's fine.
I mean, and to people who watch wrestling, the Great Khali looks worse than that.
Yeah, he does. He's taking way too many blows to the head.
Yeah, he would actually make a good Herman if he could act.
Well, he acts over there in Bollywood.
Does he?
Yeah, and now that he can't wrestle because of his horrible knees.
Yeah. I haven't seen him in any Bollywood films I've watched, but maybe, yeah. I know he was in Get Smart, the remake Get Smart with The Rock and that. So yeah.
Yeah.
Anyways, moving forward, this is when Herman goes off to find Grandpa the horse,
Yeah, and he accidentally talks to Volcano because they look the same.
Yeah.
So how did Grandpa get out of the house? We'll never know.
Nope.
Grandpa then tells the horse next to him to not get any odd ideas because he's old enough to be her father. Then the Bronco event starts, and
at least they did that and didn't say, "Hey, how you doing?" for Grandpa. That's
true. Yes,
so at least
this character could have gone any direction. But the Bronco event starts, and Lily tells Eddie that this is worse than the time he talked Herman into surfing, and he knocked the end of the new steel pier off. Eddie is getting Herman into so much trouble.
Yeah.
Marilyn finally says the thing that no one else has, and where is Grandpa? And he's like, oh, he's never around when you need him. He's probably horsing around somewhere.
Then we jump to Grandpa as a horse, trying to go into the stable number 4, I believe it was, that Herman was supposed to be in.
Yeah, pen 4, where Herman was. But he gets chased off. So Grandpa goes behind a building, turns back into a person, and tries to walk back again and gets caught by some rodeo workers.
Yeah.
He's like, what do you mean? I'm going to pen 4 so my son-in-law can ride me.
And then they drag him out, and then he's like, oh wait, it wore off. I'm not a horse anymore. Like, what? So this you thought you were a horse?
After he's been talking to these guys.
Yeah, he's been talking to them.
He's like, I'm going to report you for cruelty to animals. First of all, the fact they included that line, you know what the writers were doing.
Yeah. Yeah.
They have the same mind as Myke here. And they weren't ashamed of it. All right. So after realizing he's not a horse, he's like, the rodeo worker's like, yeah, I'm Snow White, and they're the 7 dwarfs.
Yeah. And then just like piss off and threw him out. Like literally pushed Grandpa out.
So
this is when Sam Dracula should have popped out and just like and then ate them. There's a lot of good moments where Grandpa could be dark if he wanted to.
Another instance where Grandpa is out in sunlight again.
Yeah. I mean, he was in the beach in the last episode too.
Yeah, but he was under a bucket. It's Herman's turn now, and Eddie is real excited as Lily covers her face and then opens her, fingers to look through. Herman is impressed with Grandpa not, acting like an actual horse. And as Volcano bolts out trying to throw him off, he's being jerked around like something crazy. And we see some stadio footage that is clearly not where they are.
Yeah.
Grandpa is looking through the fence, and Herman still hasn't figured out it's not Grandpa yet.
Yeah. He doesn't figure it out until afterwards too, which is nice.
Oh yeah.
And then he ends up winning. He stays on Volcano. I mean, supposedly Herman is what, like 300 pounds or whatnot. I mean, it'd be kind of hard
probably
for the horse too.
Yeah, that poor horse.
I mean, Fred with the padding on is not that much, but the character in the show is supposed to be a lot. So,
oh God, I can't imagine Fred with how uncomfortable he was normally. They had to have a stunt guy.
Oh, I feel there was a stunt guy somewhere,
like for all of the horse scenes, not just.
Yeah,
like maybe would they have like shot over? He might be on like a prosthetic or something, but I can't imagine him, as uncomfortable as he is to just sit down in all of his stuff, to be on a horse.
Yeah, that would be painful.
Yeah. So Lily has back bumps with excitement, and Herman begins giving a speech after being told he broke the record.
Yeah.
The world record. He's like, I think some of the credit should go to the horse, and the crowd loves this.
Yeah.
Herman's such a nice guy, trying to give credit to Grandpa, even though no one else will understand it. And then Grandpa comes strolling up, and Marilyn's like, where have you been? Herman's, wait, what? Oh, shit. He faints.
And then Grandpa's like, oh, no. Get a picture of this. This is his good side.
Yeah, this is his natural. He looks more natural this way.
Yeah.
He also says that he's never been more proud of him.
Yeah.
Which is, he actually looks it too. He's like beaming
never been more
with
proud
happiness.
of my son-in-law. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then they come over and take the pictures, and that's the end of the episode right there. Go the credits. And
I have no trivia, so we could go straight into thoughts.
No trivia for it. All right. So my thoughts on the episode, I'll go first because you probably have a little bit more. I enjoyed it. It was nice to see them outside of the house. I mean, we've had a lot of episodes actually with them not in the house, so that's really cool. A lot more. This seemed like it was on location on some ranch or something somewhere, so that was awesome. And you get a little bit more interaction with different animals and stuff. But of course, like you said back then, sometimes the animals weren't always treated that great. I would hope with how many things that this specific horse was in, that they did treat this horse good, because otherwise I don't think the horse would have lived to go through all those movies. Yeah. So, but I enjoyed it. I did not, and it's not like my favorite episode or anything, but I did enjoy it for sure.
And I think these were a couple of the fun ones to watch back to back. And
yeah,
I agree with you. This was a fun one, but I think the first one we watched was better.
Yeah.
There's a lot of really funny moments in this, some banter between Herman and Grandpa, which I always love. Mm-hmm. I hope Lily stops being so mean in the future because she is taking a turn this season.
Yeah. She's just been really, I don't even know how to say, like, I don't know.
Judgmental.
Cruel in a way. She's not supportive of her husband. Let's say that.
Yeah. Which she was very supportive early on in season 1.
Yeah.
But, maybe she's getting revenge for that time she tried to get a job.
Or he tried to make her disappear.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. He has done a lot of stupid stuff.
Yeah.
I enjoyed this one. I think it was a really fun one. And, I apologize for the listeners for us running a little long. There was that the first episode today has so much meaning to it, especially currently. That I just felt it needed to be, brought up.
Yeah.
We try to keep these as short as we can.
Yeah.
Because we understand no one likes to listen to a couple hour thing. Our other show is a couple hours all the time.
Yeah. Awesome, man. So is that all your final words for this episode of?
Yeah. That's it.
Okay. Awesome. Then next week, what will we be talking about next week, man? Do you have those pulled up?
I do not.
Need to do it.
Give me just a quick second.
Right. With him looking that up, don't forget you can email us at TheMunsterCast@outlook.com with any questions, concerns, stories, or anything that you have. And let me know what you think about Mr. Tivis over here not engaging in my comments that he deems inappropriate, I guess.
And if you could, it would really, really help us if you could go and give us a rating on like iTunes or whatever you listen to, if they allow that. Tell a friend. That actually helps out more than the ratings themselves.
Mm-hmm. Just let share us with other people that you know out there.
Yeah, anyone you think would be interested or is anyway interested in the Munsters that may be interested in us, we would really appreciate it.
Yeah, and if you know anybody into the Munsters world that does stuff like content wise or anything like that, let us know. Maybe, or let them know, and maybe we can get them on the show and have a talk and stuff like that. So,
if you know anyone, had someone in the family or family friend that worked on any episodes of the movies or anything, we would love to talk to them.
Yeah, and any iteration of the Munsters too. So I don't care. I know we said this before last season, so I just thought we'd reiterate that too. for other people. So yeah. All right, what you got for me for next week?
I have a loading bar because IMDb is going extremely slow. Right. Oh, I got season 1. That's not helpful. Do
you want me to read them?
Yeah, if you have them.
All right. So next week we will be doing Herman Munster Shutterbug and Herman Coach of the Year. And we will be talking about those next week and watching them, of course. So if you join us next week, thank you very much. And we hope that you enjoyed this. Tivis, any last words, man?
Just this show continues to surprise me each and every turn with these episodes. And I really hope anyone who is watching for the first time along with us is just loving it as much as we are.
Yeah, definitely. I'm finding a new love for Munsters outside of the love that I had previously as a child. So definitely there. And it's nice as an adult, I can see all the different hidden things that are the meaning and stuff like that and all that. So that's really cool. All right, guys. Well, with that said, thank you very much. And we will catch you next time as we take another stroll down 1313 Mockingbird Lane.
The lesson I want you to learn is it doesn't matter what you look like. You can be tall or short, or fat or thin, or ugly, or handsome, like your father. Or you can be black or yellow or white. It doesn't matter. What does matter is the size of your heart and the strength of your character.